The baby cries again. The sound slices through the silence of the darkened room like a blade. A tremor runs down my arms, stiff and shaky from another sleepless night. My eyes snap open, heart lurching at the realization that I never truly fell asleep in the first place. The lamp by my bedside flickers faintly, revealing the small crib a few paces away. The baby's whimpers escalate, and my pulse quickens as though resonating with each sharp sob. I want to get up. My maternal instinct insists on it, but my body is heavy under the blanket. My eyelids threaten to close. Ever so slowly, I swing my feet off the bed and shuffle to the crib. As I lean over, the baby's cries subside, replaced by soft whimpers. I run the back of my hand across my forehead, damp with sweat. It's only been 2 weeks since she was born. I haven't had a night's rest since. Shh, I whisper, carefully lifting her and pressing her against my chest. Her body is delicate, so small in my arms. She breathes in short, quick gasps that distract me from the throbbing emptiness in my mind. I cradle her while swaying from side to side, forcing my eyes to remain open. One step, another. The old wooden boards beneath my feet creak, their gentle groans echoing in the silent house. Outside, moonlight filters in through the curtains, spilling across the floor in pale rectangles. I pace around the room, reciting a soft lullaby that blends with the hum of the overhead fan. She quiets, her tiny fingers opening and closing against my chest. Every so often I catch my reflection in the mirror. The dark half circles beneath my eyes look almost bruised. My face appears drained, taut. My unruly hair, once meticulously combed, is tied in a messy bun. And there, behind my reflection, in the corner of the room, a shadow shifts. At first, I think it's just the lamp's flicker. I glance behind me to make sure, but the corner is empty, just the dusty, unmoving curtains. Yet the hair on my neck stands. The baby squirms in my arms, and I almost lose my grip. As I steady us, my throat tightens. Something is off. A prickling sensation at my nape says someone or something is watching. Maybe it's just my exhaustion. I take a breath, nestle her back in the crib, and retreat to my bed. Sleep doesn't come. I lie there for what feels like hours, watching the moonlight slide across the floor. At one point, my heavy eyelids fall, and I drift. In that fleeting state, I see a silhouette creeping from the corner toward the crib. My body jolts. I throw myself out of bed, stumbling toward the baby, sure that something is there, about to snatch her away. But there is nothing. No one. And yet, I heard the floorboards creak. My hands shake so violently that I have to press them against the crib for steadiness. The baby stirs at my approach, but she doesn't cry. I can't shake the sense that something lurks in the darkness, waiting for me to let my guard down. I remain at her crib's side until daybreak, half sure that I'm losing my mind. Morning light doesn't calm my anxiety. While I stand in the bathroom, letting water pour over my face, the reflection in the mirror doesn't reassure me. I look pale, almost translucent. My cheeks sink in, lips so chapped they crack. My attention drifts to the reflection behind me. The bathroom door is partially ajar, and for an instant I could swear a slender shape crosses behind me. When I spin around, only the empty hallway remains. The baby's cry from the bedroom sends my heart pounding. My arms feel like lead, but I force them to move. Each passing day is a litany of chores. Nurse her, change her, rock her to sleep. It's as if my life has become an endless loop, repeated day after day, night after sleepless night. Yesterday, my husband Robert was forced to go back to work. With him gone for most of the day, the isolation has grown. There are moments when I long to call my mother, but she's abroad caring for her own sick sister, my aunt. My body yearns for someone else to share this burden of exhaustion. I gather the baby from her crib and drift back to the living room. The windows are wide, and the fresh morning light illuminates a dust-laden couch, coffee table, and scattered baby supplies. The enormous old mirror on the wall, an heirloom from Robert's grandparents, draws my eye. In its reflection, I see me, and behind me, the hallway leading to the nursery. Even at a distance, something about that hallway unsettles me. The shadows seem deeper there, darker, The phone rings. Robert checking up on me. I balance the baby in one arm and press the phone to my ear. He asks how I'm doing, and I lie, saying I'm fine, that the baby slept better last night. I can't bring myself to mention the shadows twisting in my peripheral vision. He's already worried I'm not adjusting well. Postpartum anxiety, he calls it. I hear the tense edge in his voice, the unspoken question about whether I'm coping. I'm okay, I insist softly. Just tired. It's always the same refrain. He tries to assure me that I'll get rest soon enough, that these are normal growing pains in early parenthood. I say goodbye and let the phone drop to the couch. Silence engulfs the house again. My heart clenches, dread seeping in. A flicker in the mirror catches my eye, almost like a silhouette gliding into the nursery. I turn to look down the hallway. It's empty except for the closed nursery door. A cold sensation builds at the base of my spine. Barefoot, I walk through the living room and force myself to open the door. The nursery is small, with pale pink walls and a single rocking chair next to the crib. A stuffed giraffe sits in the corner. Everything looks as I left it. No footprints, no sign of intruders. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm not alone. Night falls again, and the toll of insomnia weighs me down as though concrete is strapped to my wrists and ankles. The baby's colicky cries tear into my soul, but simpler tasks like picking her up feel monumental. Around midnight, when she finally dozes off, I collapse in bed across from her crib. The mattress envelops me in a feeble hug. My eyes close. For a second, nothing else exists but relief. Then I hear the whisper. It's barely discernible, a hush that tickles my ear like a draft. I don't catch the words, if there are any. Startled, I scuttle upright, my hair standing on end. At the foot of the bed stands a faint outline, impossible, yet undeniably there, as though a shape had stepped out from the shadows themselves. It's not much taller than me, slender limbs, no distinct features. It shifts, wavering, like a silhouette projected onto smoke. My breath catches in my throat. I feel a primal fear, the kind that grips a person in the presence of something that should. I blink hard, desperately trying to break the vision. When my eyes open again, the shape lunges toward the crib. Horror stabs me, and I let out a half-choked scream. I leap from the bed, but my legs tangle in the sheets, and I topple to the floor. By the time I scramble free, the figure is gone. I clutch the rail of the crib. The baby is still there, stirring only slightly in her sleep, oblivious to my panic. My heart bangs in my chest like a frantic drumbeat. Tears well up as a choking mixture of terror and relief floods me. I check the corners of the room, even under the bed, but it's empty. Still, a strange odor lingers, a faint metallic tang in the air. My teeth chatter from the surge of adrenaline. Are my eyes conjuring illusions from sleep deprivation? Or is there something truly haunting my nights? I can no longer dismiss the episodes as simple nightmares. My nerves are frayed, my mind constantly preoccupied with the possibility of seeing the shadow again. Each evening I check every corner, every closet, tempted to install a dozen new locks on our doors. I catch the baby watching empty spaces with wide eyes, cooing and babbling. More than once, she's looked at something. Someone. Just over my shoulder. When I shift to see what she's focusing on, I see nothing. The presence torments me, with fleeting movements at the edge of my vision. Sometimes I think I glimpse a dark figure in the hallway mirror. Other times it appears near the window, blending with the drapes. One night, I claim I see the shape slip into the kitchen. I run in, searching every nook, only to find the fridge door ajar. The baby starts wailing in the next room, and I dash back, fearful that the cunning silhouette is circling behind my back. Every time Robert returns from work, I struggle with whether to tell him, knowing he will dismiss the sightings as the product of anxious fatigue. One night, desperation leads me to approach him in our bedroom. After tucking the baby into her crib, I lay out my night's encounters. The shifting outline, my fear that it wants to snatch our newborn away. He listens while perched on the edge of the bed, concern etched on his face. I see his features tighten in sympathy, though his words are calming in that practiced, careful tone. He wraps me in his arms. "It's going to be okay," he whispers, but I hear the line as if it's a sermon for someone who is losing her grip. He suggests I see a doctor or a therapist. The coil of dread in my heart only tightens. He thinks I'm unraveling. Maybe I am. Over the following days, my insomnia intensifies. The baby's feeding schedule leaves me with barely a few hours of broken rest. My sense of time distorts. I can't remember if it's Thursday or Friday. My mind buzzes at odd hours, worlds spinning around me like a slow, dreadful carousel. The figure doesn't need to appear in the corner of my eye anymore. Its presence is etched into me. I sense it watching whenever I walk down the hall, whenever I shower, whenever I rock the baby to sleep. Even in broad daylight, I shiver under the heavy weight of unseen eyes. Late one afternoon, I doze in a rocking chair with the baby in my arms. A soft squeaking from the rocking motion lulls me into a half-awake state. My head sags and I drift into a haze. That's when I see it again. It stands near the dresser. I can't move, pinned in place by my drowsy body, but my eyes remain open. I watch it tilt its head. A dark silhouette with edges that shimmer like heat haze. My chest tightens. I want to scream, but my slack jaw won't move. The figure slowly raises one hand, or what passes for a hand, and points at the baby. A surge of raw terror snaps me awake. I gasp, nearly slipping off the chair. The baby's eyes flutter. Her tiny hands grip my blouse. The corner is empty. Was I dreaming with my eyes somehow open? Possibly. And yet, a soft ripple passes over the air, leaving behind that same metallic-tinged odor. That's when I suddenly recall stories my grandmother used to whisper about malevolent spirits that prey on vulnerable mothers. She claimed such spirits fed on weakness, on exhaustion, creeping in as illusions in your peripheral vision. The memory sends a chill through me. Days pass in a blur of repetitive tasks. Phone calls with Robert, half-hearted suggestions to see a doctor. He tries to get me help, but appointments are difficult to schedule, and I shrink from explaining these experiences to a stranger. I feel ashamed by my own paranoia, but each night the fear intensifies. I thrash in bed, half alert, listening to the baby's fitful rest, as if waiting for the moment the shadow will try to claim her. Eventually, I contact my friend Denise and tell her I need an extra set of eyes. She's a new mother too, though her child is older than mine. When she arrives one afternoon, my relief is so great that I burst into tears the moment the door opens. She wraps me in a hug without hesitation. I feel the strength in her arms that I lack. She doesn't dismiss me as hysterical. Instead, she watches the baby while I take a shower. Even the hot water isn't enough to cleanse the dread clinging to my skin. For once, I actually close my eyes in the shower, letting the steam envelop me. But then a fleeting panic grips me. What if the shadow is out there, creeping up on Denise, waiting for a moment to grab the newborn? I hastily finish rinsing, turn off the water, and scramble to throw on a towel. Rushing into the living room, I find Denise calmly holding my baby. There's a subdued expression on her face, though, something that suggests concern or unsettled curiosity. "I've been watching her carefully," she says, a small tremor in her voice. She kept staring over my shoulder, like she was seeing something I couldn't. I sink onto the couch beside her, numbness in my legs. "I've told you about my visions," I manage. She gives a serious nod. Denise gently shifts the baby to the couch, resting her on a soft blanket. She turns back to me, eyes brimming with empathy. "I don't want to accuse you of imagining it," she says, "but you have been under a lot of stress. Sometimes postpartum anxiety can really play tricks on the mind." Despite her cautious tone, I notice goosebumps on her arms, as though she isn't entirely sure it's just anxiety. Night creeps in, painting the edges of the house with deepening shadows. Denise makes us tea. I appreciate her presence, but I'm painfully aware that once she leaves, the shadow and I will be alone again. After hours spent talking, I persuade her to stay the night. We lay spare blankets in the guest room, where I place the baby's bassinet. If there's comfort to be found, it's that I won't be alone. In the middle of the night, a scream erupts. It's not mine or the baby's. My pulse erupts into a gallop. I scramble out of bed, nearly stumbling into the wall, and sprint to the guest room. Inside, Denise is cowering beside the bed, eyes wide. My baby is wailing in the bassinet. Denise's trembling finger points to the open window. I saw it, she gasps. Some shape. It was crouched outside, right beyond the glass. I thought I was dreaming, but I swear I saw it. Rushing to the bassinet, I gather my baby into my arms, pressing my quivering lips against her forehead. The window's screen is intact, locked in place. The night sky beyond is silent, the yard empty. But the fear in Denise's eyes is real. For the first time, someone else has seen the specter. Bile rises in my throat. Relief that I'm not insane merges with a crippling terror that this presence is undeniably real. We sit up together for the rest of the night, the baby asleep in Denise's arms. I keep watch on the window, balancing the dread in my chest. Neither of us dares speak, but we know that we are dealing with a threat beyond normal understanding. The next morning, Denise leaves with a shaken promise that she'll return soon, but I can sense her wariness. Once again, it's just me, the baby, and the suffocating aura of unseen eyes. Dark clouds blot out the sun, a storm threatening to unleash. I gather up what courage remains and head to the dining table. My grandmother's old Bible rests there, a memory from my childhood. I'm not overly religious, but desperation makes me clutch at any reassurance. Page after page I search for comfort. The letters blur together. I glance at the baby nestled in her bassinet. She's drifted off to sleep again, tiny lips parted, the world of her dreams blissfully innocent. Over her shoulder I glimpse a subtle movement. My body tenses. I stare intently at the mirror on the wall, the same one that's been there for years, older than my marriage. Reflected in it is the hallway behind me, and there stands the shape once more, black, featureless, but now more distinct than ever. My breath leaves me in a rush. I twist around. The hallway is empty. In the mirror, I still see it. My voice vanishes, leaving behind only the frantic pounding of my heart. The figure glides toward the reflection of the bassinet. I watch in paralyzed terror as it leans over the baby's sleeping form. In real life, the air by her remains still, but in the mirror, it's stroking the bassinet rails as though testing them. I can barely breathe. My throat constricts, tears prickling. My maternal instincts explode, and I rise so quickly I knock over the chair, its crash echoing. I grab the bassinet, pulling it away from the hallway's reflection. The figure halts, head tilting with an air of curiosity. Trembling, I dare to raise my eyes again to the mirror. The figure stares back at me. Then, in a ripple of black, it vanishes. The hallway is empty once more, both reflected and real, but there remains an angry smudge in the glass, dull and smoky. Rain pounds the roof that night. Robert's stuck working late again. Something about a crisis at the office. The baby is inconsolable, wailing with a ferocity that gnaws at my frayed nerves. I try rocking her, singing, humming, patting her back. Still, she shrieks as though sensing the same malignant aura swirling around us. Lightning flashes. In the sudden streak of daylight that blasts through the windows, I see the shape. Thunder booms in the distance, drowning my gasp. The silhouette stands at the far end of the living room, partially blended with the blackness. This time there's a sensation of deliberate intent in its stance. My stomach twists. It knows I'm alone. It knows I'm weak. Another flash and it's gone. The baby's crying hits fever pitch. I rush to the bedroom, slamming the door shut, hooking the chain lock from the inside. She continues thrashing, so I place her in the middle of the bed, safe from any edges. My own breath is ragged, panic-laced. Her screams drill into my ears, bringing with them an onslaught of swirling, half-formed thoughts. Is this a demon, a manifestation of postpartum psychosis, a twisted dream? I decide that I can't just cower and wait for it to appear. If it wants my baby, it will have to face every last shred of fight in me. With the baby still howling on the bed, I cross the room to turn on every lamp, pushing away the shadows. Light saturates the place, but it doesn't soothe my dread. A boom of thunder rattles the walls. Rain hammers the window, pushing the darkness closer. Another bolt of lightning floods the room with a blinding glare. In that stark illumination, I see the figure again, this time inside the bedroom by the open closet door. I spin to face it, pressing my back against the bed to protect the baby. My heart flutters like a trapped bird. The shape is more defined, arms that stretch out longer than normal, raised in a vile imitation of an embrace. "Stay away!" I hear myself hiss, voice vibrating with terror. My baby's cries merge with my heartbeat. The figure quivers as if responding to my words, then takes a slow step forward. The overhead light flickers, and I realize it's not the flicker, it's the shape passing under the lamp. My stomach churns. A primal wave of defiance buries my fear. I glance at the baby for reassurance that she's still there. I want to keep her safe. I must keep her safe. Then it charges. A storm of black, swirling shadows descends upon me. I scream, dropping to shield the baby with my body, my arms forming a desperate barrier. The lights blink again in the chaos. My vision momentarily fails, as if I've been plunged into a deeper darkness. But I feel the presence, a freezing chill swirling around me. It claws at my arms, icy, intangible, yet with enough force to jostle me. My head spins as I fight back with wild, furious strikes, punching at empty air. The baby's shrieks ring in my ears, fueling my desperation. My throat is raw from screaming. Lightning flickers again, revealing the silhouette leaning over me, hands reaching toward the baby. Summoning my last shred of courage, I thrash upward, forcing it back with a panicked wail. My thoughts meld into a single, unbreakable drive. Protect her. The figure recoils as if stunned by my unexpected resistance. I don't pause. Through some adrenaline-fueled instinct, I leap across the bed, pressing the baby to me and darting out of the bedroom. In the hallway, I can practically feel it on my heels, a gale of freezing wind. The house is dark, the overhead lights flickering. The door to the living room is partially ajar. I burst out, fumble with the front door lock and yank it wide open. Rain soaks me instantly, wind lashing at my cheeks. I clutch my baby with one arm, eyes burning from the sting of water. The storm rages, but my mind clings to a single objective: get her away from that thing. But where to go? Trying to outrun the impossible seems absurd. Yet I can't just stand here. Before I can take a step, the front door slams behind me with a piercing crash, as if shoved by an enormous force. A shockwave of dread hits. I back away toward the street. Lightning illuminates the windows of the house, and I see the silhouette inside the living room, pressed up against the glass. Even from here, it's a black distortion in a space that should be empty. For a moment, we make eye contact. My eyes, that is, with the void where its eyes should be. My baby whimpers in my arms, face twisted in confusion and fear. In that fraction of a second, I sense a furious, hungry frustration from whatever stands behind the glass, and then, in a flash of lightning, it's gone. I don't wait to see if it's coming back. With nothing to shield me from the rain, I run barefoot down the dark sidewalk, tears mingling with the downpour. I have no idea where I am going. Eventually, I end up on the porch of a neighbor's house, shivering, baby crying, too shaken to speak. Mercifully, they let me in, wrapping us in towels and warm blankets. Amid their comforting lamplight, I feel a heavy gravitational force behind my eyes, my body's final attempt to claim rest. By the time Robart arrives, the storm has passed. I'm in a haze of exhaustion, my whole body trembling like a rickety structure, on the verge of collapse. My neighbor quietly explains they heard frantic knocking and found me on their doorstep. Robert's face is strained with concern. He takes my baby from me and envelops us both in an embrace. Everything blurs behind the curtain of my tears. That night, if dawn can be called night, Robert drives us home, refusing to leave my side. I'm half awake, half conscious. After ensuring every light in the house is on, he walks through each room, checking corners, closets, windows. No sign of forced entry or intruder, but I know the threat was never a typical burglar. With the baby safe in our arms, we eventually settle on the living room couch, all lights blazing, and wait for morning. Robert speaks softly. "We'll figure this out," he says, voice hoarse. "We'll get you the help you need." He kisses the baby's forehead, then mine. His eyes shimmer with tears he's fighting to hold back. I rest my head against him, letting his warmth fortify the fragile boundaries of my mind. The memory of that shadowy presence lingers, an imprint of darkness. Night after night, I remain alert, uncertain if it will return, uncertain if sleep will bring me nightmares or salvation. Sometimes I hear a creak in the hallway and jolt awake, heart hammering, but I see nothing. Gradually, the baby sleeps longer. We fill the house with more laughter, more people coming and going, chasing away stale silence, and in time the memory of that presence becomes a cauterized wound sore, but sealed. Yet even as I hold my baby in the broad daylight of the next week, something about the corners of the room, the lines of the molding, the shape of the windows, keeps my guard raised, because I know it's not just in my head. I've seen it, felt it, battled it, and I cannot forget how it leaned in, close enough to breathe on the one I love most. Shadows remain in every corner of the world, waiting for darkness to fall. I won't let them in again. Not as long as I draw breath,